Rain hammered Los Angeles like it had a personal grudge. Shanice pulled her delivery van up to the wrought iron gates of the sprawling mansion on Mulholland Drive, windshield wipers fighting a losing battle. The package, small, black, sealed with red wax, was marked, "Hand delivery only. Attention, Lee Jae Hyun." Her premium courier app had pinged triple pay for the rush job, but the storm made her question every life choice that led her here at 9:47 p.m. She buzzed the intercom. A gruff voice answered in clipped Korean before switching to English. "Name and purpose." "Shanice Carter, Express Elite Courier. Package for Mr. Lee." A long pause. The gate groaned open just enough for her to slip through on foot. Two security guards in black tactical gear met her halfway up the drive, rain slicking their shoulders. One, broad, buzz-cut, permanent scowl, reached for the package without a word. Shanice pulled it back. "Policy says hand to recipient only. I need a signature." He snorted. "You think you're walking into the house? Give it here, girl." Her hazel eyes narrowed. Water dripped from her tight curls onto her courier jacket. "It's Shanice, and no, I don't get paid to hand million-dollar confidentiality to random muscle. Call Mr. Lee or I'm leaving with it." The second guard laughed low. Buzzcut stepped closer, looming. "You got some mouth for a delivery. Enough!" The voice cut through the rain like a blade. Everyone froze. Lee Jae Hyun stood at the top of the marble steps under the porte cochere, black silk shirt unbuttoned at the throat, sleeves rolled to his forearms. Even soaked in shadow, he radiated control. Sharp jaw, ink-black hair pushed carelessly back, eyes so dark they swallowed light. He descended slowly, each step deliberate, until he reached them. He didn't look at the guards, his gaze locked on Shanice. She felt it like a physical touch, hot, unblinking, possessive in a way that made her stomach flip despite the cold. "Give me the package," he said, voice low, accented, velvet over steel. She held it out. Their fingers brushed as he took it. Electricity snapped up her arm. His thumb lingered a second too long against her knuckles before he pulled away. He glanced at the electronic pad she offered, signed, handed it back. Then he turned to the head maid who had appeared behind him, an older Korean woman in a crisp uniform, expression pinched. "Mrs. Kim?" Jae Hyun said without raising his voice. "You're dismissed. Effective immediately. Pack your things. Security will escort you out." Mrs. Kim's mouth opened, closed. "Sir." "Out." She bowed stiffly and retreated. The guards exchanged glances but said nothing. Jae Hyun's attention returned to Shanice. Rain dripped from his lashes. He studied her like she was the only thing in the world worth seeing. "You're good at your job," he said. "It's just a package." "No." He stepped closer, invading her space without touching her. "You don't flinch. You don't bow. You don't bend. I need someone like that in my house." She laughed once, short and incredulous. "I deliver things. I don't clean mansions." "Triple your current yearly salary. Live-in. Personal staff. You start tomorrow." Her pulse kicked. "You're serious?" "I don't joke." His eyes traced her face, lips, cheekbones, the rain-slit curve of her throat. "Say yes." Shanice should have walked away. Every instinct screamed danger. But something in his stare, raw, hungry, already claiming, made her chin lift instead. "Quadruple," she said, "and I keep my phone. No tracking apps." A slow, dangerous smile curved his mouth. "Done." He turned to the nearest guard. Take her to the East Wing suite. Move her things tonight." As the guard led her past, Jae-hyun watched every step she took. Rain blurred the world, but not him. Not the way his fists clenched at his sides. Inside his mind, one thought repeated like a vow. She's mine now. Shanice woke to sunlight slicing through silk curtains she hadn't drawn herself. The East Wing suite was larger than her entire apartment. King bed with Egyptian cotton, walk-in closet already half filled with her clothes, somehow moved overnight, and a bathroom bigger than most hotel lobbies. She stared at the ceiling, replaying last night. The storm, the gates. Lee Jae-hyun's eyes on her like she was already his. A soft knock. A young woman in a gray uniform slipped in with a tray. Coffee, fresh fruit, pastries. "Good morning, Miss Carter. Mr. Lee requests you join him for breakfast in the main dining room at 8. Your uniform is in the wardrobe." Shanice glanced at the clock. 7:32. Uniform? Standard for personal staff. Black dress, white apron. He was specific. Specific. That word carried weight. She showered fast, pulled on the dress, fitted but modest, knee length, the fabric expensive, and twisted her curls into a low bun, the apron tied neatly at the waist. She looked like she belonged in a luxury magazine spread, not scrubbing floors. Downstairs, the mansion hummed with quiet efficiency. Marble floors gleamed. Crystal chandeliers caught morning light. Staff moved like shadows. Maids, cooks, security, all avoiding her path. Jae-hyun waited at the head of the 20-foot dining table, alone. Black suit today, no tie, top button undone. He didn't rise when she entered, but his gaze lifted slowly, drinking her in from the hem of her dress to the curve of her neck. "You're punctual," he said. "Habit." She stopped 3 feet from the table. "Where do I start? Floors? Windows?" He gestured to the chair beside him. "Sit." "I'm staff." "Sit." She did, wary. A server placed a plate in front of her. Omelet, smoked salmon, avocado. Jae-hyun watched every bite she took, like cataloging her preferences. "Rules," he began. "You answer only to me. No other staff gives you orders. You don't leave the property without telling me. You don't speak to delivery drivers, gardeners, or anyone outside these walls unless I'm present." Shanice set her fork down. "That's not a job description, that's a leash." His jaw tightened, but his tone stayed even. "It's protection. My world has teeth. You're in it now. Because you decided. Because I saw you stand up to men twice your size in a storm and didn't blink." His eyes darkened. "I don't let things I want slip away." Heat crawled up her neck. She stood. "I clean. I serve. That's the deal. Not whatever this is." He rose too, slower, taller. Crossed the space between them in 2 steps. Close enough she smelled cedar and expensive cologne. He reached past her, deliberately brushing her arm, to pick up a small silver bell from the table. "Ring this if you need anything. Only this." His fingers lingered near her wrist, not quite touching. "And Shanice?" She met his stare. "Yes?" "No one else touches what's mine." The words landed heavy, possessive, final. He stepped back. "Your first task, my study. Dust the shelves. I'll be working there." She nodded once, turned on her heel, pulse hammering. In the study, dark wood, leather-bound books, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, Jae-hyun sat at his desk, pretending to read reports. His eyes followed her every move. When she stretched to reach a high shelf, the dress rode up slightly. His grip tightened on his pen. Later, as she polished the desk edge, their hands brushed, hers reaching for a cloth, his sliding a file toward her. Skin on skin. Electric. Neither pulled away immediately. His voice dropped to a murmur. Careful. She looked up. His gaze was molten. Hungry. I am, she whispered. He leaned closer, breath warm against her ear. Good girl. Shanice's breath caught. She straightened fast, cheeks burning, and moved to the next shelf. Behind her, Jae-hyun smiled, small, dangerous, satisfied. She was already under his roof, already in his sights, and he intended to keep her there, forever. Shanice had been in the mansion 5 days, and already the walls felt like they were watching her. Not the cameras, though she was sure those existed, but him, Lee Jae-hyun. His presence followed her like smoke. A glance through a doorway, footsteps pausing outside the room she was cleaning, the faint scent of cedar lingering after he left. She was wiping down the grand piano in the music room when the trouble started. A gardener, mid-20s, Korean, polite smile, knocked on the open French doors. Miss Carter? Mr. Lee asked me to bring fresh orchids for the foyer. Where would you like them? Shanice straightened, wiping her hands on the apron. Just set them on the side table there. Thanks. He hesitated, eyes flicking to her face a second too long. You're new. Adjusting okay? This place can be intense. She gave a small smile. I manage. He nodded, set the vase down, then added quietly, if you ever need anything, advice, directions, whatever. My name's Min Ho. I'm around most days. Before she could respond, the air shifted. Heavy. Cold. Jae-hyun stood in the doorway, arms crossed, suit jacket discarded somewhere, sleeves rolled to reveal corded forearms and the edge of a tattoo curling beneath his cuff. His expression was calm. Too calm. Min Ho, he said softly. You're done for the day. Min Ho stiffened. Sir, I was just... Leave. Now. The gardener bowed quickly, shot Shanice an apologetic glance, and hurried out through the garden doors. Silence stretched, thick as the humidity before a storm. Shanice turned to face him. That was unnecessary. Jae-hyun stepped inside, closing the doors behind him with a soft click. The room suddenly felt smaller. Was it? He was being polite, bringing flowers, doing his job. He was looking at you. Jae-hyun crossed the room in measured strides until he stood inches away. He spoke to you like you're approachable, like you're available. Her pulse jumped. I'm not his property, or yours. His eyes darkened, pupils swallowing the irises. You live under my roof. You wear the uniform I chose. You eat at my table. You are mine to protect. He reached out, slow enough she could stop him, and brushed a stray curl from her cheek. His thumb lingered against her skin. And I don't share. Shanice's breath hitched. She should step back. She didn't. You can't fire every man who talks to me. I can. His voice dropped to a murmur, velvet threat. And I will. Anyone who looks too long. Anyone who steps too close. Anyone who makes you smile like that. The air crackled. He leaned in until their foreheads nearly touched, his breath warm against her lips. She could see the tension in his jaw, the way his hand flexed at his side, like he was fighting not to pull her flush against him. You feel it too, he whispered. Don't lie. Her lips parted. No sound came out at first. Then, barely audible, You're insane. Maybe. His gaze dropped to her mouth. But I'm not wrong. For one endless heartbeat, the world narrowed to the space between them. His heat, his scent, the promise of what he wasn't saying. His hand slid to the nape of her neck, fingers threading gently into her curls, tilting her face up. He was going to kiss her. She wanted him to. A distant door slammed somewhere in the house, staff moving, oblivious. Jae-hyun froze. Then, with visible effort, he released her and stepped back. His chest rose and fell harder than it should have. "Go finish the east hallway," he said, voice rough. "I'll be in my office." Shanice nodded once, legs unsteady as she walked past him. At the doorway she paused, glanced back. He hadn't moved. He was watching her leave, fists clenched, eyes burning with something darker than hunger, something that looked a lot like obsession. She slipped into the corridor, heart slamming against her ribs. Behind her, in the empty music room, Jae-hyun exhaled slowly. He pressed 2 fingers to his lips where hers had almost been. "Soon," he murmured to the quiet. "Soon, she'll understand." Anyone belonged to him, whether she admitted it yet or not. The envelope arrived at noon, hand-delivered by a courier who didn't make it past the front gate. One of Jae-hyun's men brought it straight to the study where Shanice was organizing files on his desk. The thick cream paper bore no return address, only a single embossed character in red. Bak. Park. Jae-hyun took it without a word, slit the seal with a letter opener, and read the single typed line inside. "Hand over the girl. She's leverage we both know you can't afford to lose. Park Min-jun." His expression didn't change. He walked to the fireplace, struck a match, and dropped the paper into the flames. It curled black and vanished. Shanice watched from across the room, cloth still in hand. "What was that?" He turned, eyes locking on hers. "Nothing you need to worry about. But you're not leaving the grounds again. Not alone. Not ever." She set the cloth down. "Excuse me?" "You heard me." He crossed to her in 3 strides. "Until I handle this, you stay inside with me." Shanice's chin lifted. "You don't get to lock me up because some rival sent a creepy note. I'm not your prisoner." "You're not a prisoner." His voice was low, controlled, but the edge was razor sharp. "You're mine to keep safe." "That's the same thing." "No." He reached her, close enough that she had to tilt her head back. "Prisoners don't get choices. You do. You can choose to stay here where no one can touch you, or you can choose to walk out those gates and see how long it takes Park Min-jun to make good on his threat." Her heart thudded. "You're threatening me now?" "I'm protecting what's mine." His hand rose, knuckles grazing her jaw, tilting her face up. "And I will burn this city down before I let anyone take you from me." The air between them thickened. His thumb traced the line of her lower lip, slow, deliberate. Shanice's breath stuttered. She should push him away. She should quit. She should run. Instead, she whispered, "This isn't normal." "Normal is boring." His other hand found her waist, fingers splaying possessively over the curve of her hip. "And I've never been accused of being normal when it comes to you." He backed her gently against the desk until the edge pressed into her thighs. She gripped the wood behind her for balance. Jae-hyun leaned in, nose brushing hers, lips hovering so close she could taste the promise of them. "Tell me to stop," he murmured. "Say the word, and I'll let you walk away right now. I'll double your severance, You'll never see me again." Shanice searched his eyes, dark, stormy, utterly consumed. She saw the truth there. He would let her go if she asked, but the cost to him would be catastrophic. She didn't ask. Instead, her fingers curled into his shirt, pulling him that last fraction closer. "You're impossible." A low, rough sound rumbled in his chest. "I know." His mouth claimed hers, slow at first, testing, then deeper, hungrier. One hand cupped the back of her neck, holding her exactly where he wanted her. The other slid to the small of her back, pressing her flush against him. Heat exploded between them, every touch electric, every breath shared. He kissed like a man starving, like possession was the only language he spoke. When he finally pulled back, just enough to rest his forehead against hers, both were breathing hard. "You stay," he said, not a question. Shanice swallowed, lips tingling. "For now." His grip tightened fractionally. "For always." He kissed her again, briefer, softer, sealing the unspoken vow. Outside the study windows, the city glittered below, indifferent. Inside, the storm had only just begun, and Jae-hyun had no intention of letting it touch her, not while he still drew breath. The mansion was silent after midnight, the kind of quiet that amplified every small sound. Shanice couldn't sleep. The kiss in the study replayed on loop, his mouth on hers, possessive and consuming, the way he'd held her like she might vanish if he let go. She slipped out of bed in an oversized t-shirt and soft shorts, bare feet padding down the hallway toward the kitchen. Maybe warm milk would help. Or maybe she just needed to breathe somewhere that didn't smell like him. The kitchen lights were low, only the under-cabinet strips glowing. Jae-hyun was already there, leaning against the marble island in black sweatpants and nothing else. His back was to her, broad shoulders shifting as he poured whiskey into a tumbler. The tattoo on his left shoulder blade, a coiled dragon in black ink, caught the dim light. He didn't turn. "You should be sleeping." "So should you." She stopped at the doorway, arms crossed. "Can't stop thinking." He set the bottle down, slowly turned. His eyes traced her from bare legs to messy curls, darkening with that familiar hunger. "About what?" "You know what." He took a slow sip, watching her over the rim. "Come here." She hesitated, then crossed the cool tile floor, stopped just out of reach. "This is crazy. You're you. And I'm the delivery girl who ended up in your house because you decided I belonged here." "You do belong here." His voice was quiet, almost gentle. "I've built an empire on control, power, fear. None of it ever felt like enough, until you walked through my gates in the rain and looked at me like I was just another man." Shanice swallowed. "I'm scared." "Of me?" "Of what this means. Your world, the threats, the way you look at me like I'm the only thing that matters." He set the glass aside, closed the distance in one step. "You are." His hand lifted, slow, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His palm cupped her cheek, thumb brushing her lower lip. "I've never let anyone close. Never needed to. But you make me want things I've never wanted. Peace. A life that isn't soaked in blood. You make me want to be better." Shanice's breath caught. "Then why do you still hold on so tight?" "Because losing you would end me." He leaned in, forehead resting against hers. I'm not good at gentle, Shanice. But for you, I'm trying. The air between them hummed. She lifted her hands, fingers sliding up his bare chest, feeling the steady, hard beat of his heart. I feel it too, she whispered. The pull, the way everything quiets when you're near. But I'm terrified I'll disappear into you. You won't. His arms came around her waist, drawing her flush against him. Skin to skin through thin fabric, heat radiated between them. I'll make sure you shine brighter, not dimmer. He tilted her chin up, their eyes locked, his dark and fierce, hers wide and vulnerable. Then he kissed her, slower this time, deeper, not claiming but cherishing. One hand cradled the back of her head, fingers threading through her curls. The other pressed up the small of her back, holding her steady as the kiss built, soft, lingering, full of everything he couldn't say. She melted into him, arms winding around his neck, tasting whiskey and want. When they parted, both breathing unevenly, he didn't let go. Stay with me tonight, he murmured against her temple. Just stay. No expectations. Just here. Shanice nodded against his shoulder. Okay. He lifted her effortlessly, carrying her through the quiet halls to his bedroom. Not rushing, not demanding. He set her on the edge of the massive bed, pulled back the covers, and slid in beside her. She curled into his side, head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow. His arm wrapped around her possessively, even in sleep, fingers tracing lazy circles on her back. For the first time since she arrived, the mansion didn't feel like a cage. It felt like home. And in the dark, Jae-hyun pressed a kiss to her hair, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Mine, he thought, forever. No more running, no more pretending, just them. The first sign came at dawn. Security alarms shrieked through the mansion, sharp, insistent. Jae-hyun was out of bed in seconds, pulling on a black shirt as he moved. Shanice stirred, sitting up, heart already racing from the sound. Stay here, he ordered, voice low and lethal. He pressed a quick, hard kiss to her forehead before striding out. She didn't listen. By the time she reached the foyer, the front gates were visible on the security feed. 3 black SUVs idling, engines growling. Park Min-joon stepped out of the lead vehicle, tall, sharp-suited, smirking like he'd already won, flanked by 6 armed men. One held a phone aloft, broadcasting live to Jae-hyun's inner circle. Jae-hyun met them at the gate himself, alone except for 2 trusted lieutenants. No show of force, just him, calm, coatless, sleeves rolled, the dragon tattoo stark against his skin. Min-joon's voice crackled over the speaker. Lee, you've been ignoring my messages, so I came to collect personally. The girl, Shanice. Hand her over and we walk. Keep her, and we burn everything you've built. Jae-hyun's expression didn't flicker. You threaten what's mine, you die. Min-joon laughed. Bold, but predictable. We both know she's your weakness now. One call, and my men inside the city start with your warehouses, then your clubs, then her family back in. Jae-hyun moved. He crossed the distance in a blur, fist connecting with Min-joon's jaw before the man could finish the sentence. The crack echoed. Min-joon staggered. His guards raised weapons. Jae-hyun's men opened fire, precise, controlled. 2 of Min-joon's escorts dropped instantly. The rest hesitated. Minjun wiped blood from his lip, eyes blazing. You think this ends it? I have more men, more leverage. You have nothing. Jae-hyun grabbed him by the collar, slamming him against the SUV hood. Voice deadly soft. You came to my home. You said her name. You threatened her family. His free hand drew a concealed blade, pressing the tip to Minjun's throat. That was your last mistake. Inside the mansion, Shanice watched the feed, frozen. Her hands shook. Not from fear of the violence, but from the raw, terrifying certainty in Jae-hyun's eyes. He wasn't fighting for territory. He was fighting for her. Minjun's smirk faded. You'll start a war. I'm ending one. Jae-hyun nodded to his lieutenant. Take him. The rest, make sure they never speak again. Gunshots rang out, clean, final. Minjun was dragged away, still alive for now. The SUVs burned minutes later, black smoke rising into the pink dawn. Jae-hyun returned 20 minutes later, blood on his knuckles, shirt torn at the shoulder, eyes wild until they found her in the foyer. He crossed to her in 3 strides, hands cupping her face, searching for any sign she'd been hurt. You're safe, he breathed, like saying it made it true. They're gone. Minjun's finished. His network is being dismantled as we speak. Arrests, deals, everything. No more threats. No more shadows. Shanice's fingers trembled as she touched the cut above his eyebrow. You could have died. I'd die 1,000 times before I let them near you. He pulled her against him, arms banding tight, burying his face in her curls. I'm sorry you saw that, but I'm not sorry I did it. She clung to him, feeling the rapid thud of his heart against hers. You scared me. I know. His voice cracked just once. But losing you would kill me slower. They stood like that, wrapped in each other, until the adrenaline ebbed. He lifted her chin, kissing her softly, reverently, tasting salt from tears she hadn't realized she'd shed. I'm done hiding you, he whispered against her lips. Done pretending this is anything less than everything. Shanice searched his eyes, saw the man beneath the boss, the one who'd bleed for her, burn for her, change for her. Then don't, she said. He smiled, small, real, exhausted, and kissed her again, deeper this time, slower, hands sliding under her shirt to trace the warm skin of her back, holding her like she was the only solid thing left in his world. When they broke apart, foreheads pressed together, he murmured, Come upstairs. Let me take care of you now. She nodded. In his bedroom, he cleaned the blood from his hands while she sat on the edge of the bed, watching. Then he knelt in front of her, him, the untouchable Lee Jae-hyun, took her hands and pressed them to his chest. Feel that? He asked quietly. It only beats like this for you. Shanice's throat tightened. She leaned down, kissing him slow and sweet, pouring every unspoken fear and feeling into it. He rose, lifting her with him, laying her gently on the sheets. No rush, just them, skin to skin, breath to breath, exploring each other with trembling hands and whispered names. He kissed every inch he could reach, murmuring against her collarbone, Mine, always mine, until the words felt like worship instead of possession. She arched into him, fingers in his hair, whispering back, Yours. And in that quiet dawn, with the city waking below, and the last threat ashes in the wind, they finally let go of everything except each other. The morning after the gate confrontation, the mansion felt different, lighter, as though the air itself had exhaled. Jae-hyun called his inner circle to the war room at 10 a.m. sharp. 5 men who'd bled for him over the years, faces carved from years of loyalty and violence. Shanice wasn't invited. She wasn't meant to hear. But the mansion carried sound like secrets carried guilt. She paused outside the double doors, feather duster forgotten in her hand, when his voice cut through the wood, low, final, unmistakable. "I'm stepping down." Silence inside. Then murmurs. One lieutenant, older, scarred across the cheek, spoke first. "Boss, the parks are crippled, but the vacuum—" "I don't care about the vacuum." Jae-hyun's tone brooked no argument. "I'm selling the gray market holdings. The clubs stay legitimate. The shipping fronts get cleaned. Everything that touches blood goes. I'm out." Another voice, younger, incredulous. "For her?" "For her." No hesitation. She's not living in a fortress. She's not looking over her shoulder. And I'm not asking her to choose between me and safety. I'm choosing for both of us. Shanice's knees weakened. She leaned against the wall, heart slamming so hard she thought they'd hear it. Inside, the lieutenant pressed. "You built this. Walk away and someone else takes the crown. You'll be a target forever." "Then let them come." Jae-hyun's voice softened, almost tender. "I've spent my life collecting power so no one could touch what mattered. Now the only thing that matters is her. I'd burn it all twice over to keep her safe, to keep her smiling, to wake up next to her without wondering if today's the day I lose her." A long beat of quiet. Then, "We'll handle the transition. Quietly. Cleanly." "Good." A chair scraped. "Meeting's over." Shanice slipped away before the doors opened, retreating to the library. She sat on the window seat, staring at the city below, trying to process what she'd heard. Him, Lee Jae-hyun, dismantling an empire. For her. He found her 20 minutes later. She didn't look up when he entered. He crossed the room slowly, knelt in front of her, knees on the carpet, hands resting lightly on her thighs. The untouchable boss on his knees. For her. "You heard," he said quietly, not a question. She met his eyes. They were open, raw, unguarded, no mask. "Why?" Her voice cracked. "You could have kept me safe here. Kept everything." "Because safe isn't enough." He took her hands, pressing them to his chest. "I want you happy. Free. I want mornings where you don't flinch at sirens. I want nights where I don't check the locks 3 times. I want a life with you, not around you." "You're giving up everything." "I'm trading poison for oxygen." He lifted one of her hands, kissed the palm. "I've never begged for anything, but I'm begging now. Believe me when I say I'd rather have nothing and you than everything without you." Shanice searched his face, the sharp lines softened by something deeper than desire. Love. Real, terrifying love. She slid off the seat, joining him on the floor, knees touching his. "I believe you." His breath shuddered out. He cupped her face with both hands, thumbs brushing away the tears that fell. "Then stay," he whispered. "Not because I locked the doors. Because you want to. Because this," he pressed his forehead to hers, "is home." She closed the distance, kissing him slow and deep, hands in his hair, body pressed close. It wasn't hunger this time. It was certainty. Every touch said yes. Every breath said forever. When they parted, she smiled through tears. "I'm staying, but only if you promise me one thing." "Anything." "No more kneeling unless it's to propose." A surprised laugh escaped him, rare, genuine. "Deal." He pulled her into his lap, arms wrapping tight. They stayed like that on the library floor, two people who'd found each other in a storm, choosing each other over everything else. Outside, the city moved on. Inside, the future began. 1 month later, the last headline read, "Park Syndicate dismantled. Min Jun and key lieutenants plead guilty in federal deal." Jae Hyun had made sure the story ran everywhere. No shadows left. No questions. He sold every gray asset in a single week: warehouses, underground clubs, the quiet routes that once moved things better left unmoved. What remained were clean: luxury hotels, import-export firms, a chain of high-end restaurants. Legitimate. Boring, almost. Perfect. Shanice stood barefoot on the private beach in Malibu, wind tugging her white sundress, when the black SUV pulled up behind the modern glass house he'd bought without telling her. Jae Hyun stepped out in linen shirt and rolled sleeves, dragon tattoo catching the sunset. He carried a single duffel, and the kind of smile she'd only seen in the dark, soft, certain, hers. "Welcome home," he said, voice low as he reached her. She turned, eyes wide. "This is ours?" "Yours and mine." He dropped the bag, pulled her against him, arms locking like he still couldn't believe she was real. No gates, no guards, just us, and the ocean. His hand slid to her lower back, possessive even now, fingers splaying wide as if to remind the world she belonged right there. She melted into the kiss he gave her, slow, deep, tasting of salt air and forever. When he pulled back, forehead to hers, he whispered, "I kept one promise. No more kneeling, unless it's for this." He reached into his pocket, sank to one knee in the sand, and opened a small velvet box. A simple diamond caught the dying light, elegant, fierce, perfect. "Shanice Carter, you walked into my storm and became my calm. Marry me. Let me spend every day proving I'd choose you over empires, over power, over everything. Let me be obsessed with you for the rest of our lives." Tears slipped down her cheeks. She laughed through them, pulling him up before he could finish. "Yes, God, yes." He slid the ring on, then lifted her, spinning her once before carrying her inside. The bedroom overlooked the waves. He set her down gently, eyes never leaving hers, as he peeled the sundress from her shoulders, slow, reverent, every touch a vow. Hands explored skin they already knew by heart, his palm claiming her waist, her fingers tracing the dragon on his back. They moved together like they had all the time in the world, kisses turning heated, breaths mingling, bodies pressing close in a dance of need and trust. When the tension crested, he held her through it, murmuring against her neck, "Mine, always mine," until they collapsed tangled in white sheets, hearts racing in perfect sync. 1 year later, the same beach house glowed with string lights. Shanice, now Shanice Lee, laughed in the kitchen, stirring pasta while their golden retriever circled her legs. Jaehyun came up behind her, arms sliding around her waist from behind, chin on her shoulder. His hand rested protectively over the small swell of her belly. "Smells incredible, Mrs. Lee," he murmured, lips brushing her ear. "But if any delivery guy shows up, I'm still answering the door." She elbowed him gently, grinning. "Still possessive after all this time?" "More." He turned her in his arms, kissing her slow and sure. "I gave up an empire for you. I'd give up the world twice over. You're carrying our future. You're my everything." She cupped his face, hazel eyes shining. "And you're mine. No more storms, just us." Outside, the ocean whispered against the shore. Inside, laughter filled the house, warm, safe, complete. Lee Jae-hyun had once ruled the underworld with iron control. Now he ruled only her heart, and she ruled his right back. Forever.